listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, hosted by Matthew Laurin, President of ESQ Marketing, where he features successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey, I'm Matthew Laurin, President of ESQ Marketing, and you're listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, where I interview successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. This episode is brought to you by ESQ Marketing. We help law firms generate more clients and cases using search marketing. And today we have Jeremy Wise, who has done thousands of interviews, and he will be interviewing me.
Matt, thanks for having me. I always love chatting with you because what you do applies to everyone, especially law firms that want to rank higher. And when they rank higher, that means they get more clients, right?
More clients, more money.
Bottom line. And so we're going to talk about blogging and marketing for SEO, and SEO relates to getting the top of search, which relates to more clients. So what are some big mistakes you see people making with blogging and marketing?
I like talking about this topic because I get questions about it a lot. Like I told you before, content's a huge part of SEO, and it's a huge part of our philosophy of how we promote clients' websites. And when I talk about it on consults with clients, potential clients, there's often a lot of either misinformation or misunderstanding about how to use a blog for SEO and how to use content for SEO. And it's really pretty simple. So I do see a lot of common mistakes, but in general, a blog is kind of has two, I don't know how you phrase it, two main purposes. So one is to showcase thought leadership for an attorney, for a law firm. And you could do that by elaborating on a topic. And people who are in the search phase of trying to find an attorney will see that post and start to understand more about their situation, and it gets them further along in the process. And then the second purpose is it creates content that other site owners want to link to. So a lot of people don't want to link to sales pages. News sites don't want to reference sales pages. They want to reference useful content that's been researched and helpful for consumers. So blog posts fit that mold very nicely. And then you can take that link equity that you get from that content and funnel it back to your practice area pages. But in general, those are the two main purposes of a blog post. And that leads me to the fact that every time I have a consult with somebody, a lot of attorneys are blogging themselves, or maybe they've had another company do it or whatever. But you always see some common mistakes, and they tend to be, there's no clear keyword strategy for blog posts. They're not focusing on a long tail keyword phrase that has search volume. Or it might not be relevant to a practice area they want to generate cases in.
What are they doing? They're just randomly choosing.
Randomly choosing topics, or they're blogging about topics that they don't have any. They haven't researched the search volume or the searcher intent, and so they may be missing the mark for what people are looking for, especially when they're in that top of the funnel phase, that research phase of the buying process, when they're just starting to look for an attorney. They've just entered into this situation where they think they may need legal representation, and they're searching the internet for answers. And if you don't touch on those pain points that they're having early on in the process, then they're not going to pay attention to you so much.
Yeah, Matt. So when you're starting with someone, you're saying you're doing research on here's all of the long tail keywords that they have this amount of volume, and this is going to benefit you. And you've also, I think, do research on, they're more buying keywords. Yeah,
keywords that have purchase intent. And in the legal vertical, keywords with purchase intent are usually practice area plus lawyer or attorney, the word lawyer or attorney. So car accident lawyer Florida, medical malpractice attorney, or birth injury attorney. Something that indicates they're looking for a lawyer right now. Whereas a longer tail keyword phrase is going to be like, when should I hire a car accident attorney? Or how much does a car accident attorney cost? Things where it's not clear that they're really looking to talk to somebody right now, but they're just trying to figure out if they need to talk to somebody, or if they have a case, or if they should be learning more about their situation before they call an attorney. So you want to rank for both of them, but obviously the purchase intent keyword phrase are the ones you really want to rank for, but you can also draw in traffic from people who are in the buying phase or in the research phase of the buying process with the longer tail keyword phrases. And I have some examples that I can show.
Yeah, show some examples. But the mistake is most people don't even know what those are, nor do they research them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I see them, and there's always an opportunity to improve, even if you have a really well crafted post. But so the first site I want to look at here, you see my screen?
Yep, it's
Okay,
coming
cool.
up.
This law firm is RC Legal Group out of San Diego, California. They've been doing a lot of good blogging, putting a lot of content on their site, which is great. You always want to, continue to put content out there. One thing I noticed though, when I took a look at their motorcycle accident post here is the large volume of the word motorcycle. Like I do a control find on the page to find the word motorcycle, and it's mentioned 50 times.
Wow.
And I think I actually did speak with these attorneys, and they had mentioned that the strategy they thought was to, make sure the page is really relevant for whatever it is they're writing about. The title of this one's what you need to know about motorcycle accidents in Oceanside and Vista in California. So logically, and a lot of people hear this, that, Google finds the page relevant if the keyword phrase is there, but in reality, you probably only need to have it a few times, and Google understands that this page is about motorcycle accidents in this location. So definitely.
So if you scroll down, what does it look like on the page?
Yeah, so I mean, my browser is highlighting all the words, and you can see, it's peppered throughout with the word motorcycle. My suggestion would be to take out a lot of the mention of the word motorcycle, and instead go to thesaurus.com and generate other synonymous phrases for motorcycle accident attorney, motorcycle accident lawyer, motorcycle wreck, bike wreck, things like that, to try to approach the content with a more holistic strategy for that.
Because then you could possibly rank for other terms related to motorcycle as opposed to if you're only using motorcycle.
Yeah, and there's also a, they're all in the same category pretty much. So it's not like you're going to rank different pages for slightly different variations of terms. If the term is kind of a variation of whatever the parent term is, or then Google's going to rank that page for it too.
Got it.
For the most part. So yeah, that would be my suggestion for this post, is just to taper down the mention of motorcycle accident lawyers, include statistics about motorcycle accidents in the region, include other links to helpful information. Maybe there's other types of insurance related information, or maybe a list of insurance providers to avoid, or I don't know what it would be, but other helpful information that would be useful to somebody who's searching for this keyword phrase and trying to figure out what they want to do. And then also just having a clearer keyword strategy for the post. So if it's meant to rank for motorcycle accident in Oceanside, if you stop for a minute and you think about what someone might be looking for if they use that query, motorcycle accident in Oceanside, they're probably looking for maybe images of motorcycle accidents or information about motorcycle accidents in Oceanside. They may not have even been in a motorcycle accident. So doing a little bit of keyword research to figure out what would a person who is thinking about hiring an attorney to help them with a case like this be searching for if they aren't ready to buy yet. They might be, like, how much does a motorcycle accident attorney in Oceanside cost, or who are the motorcycle accident attorneys in Oceanside? And from there, you can kind of build on the content and rank for things that draw the type of people in that you want to see the post.
There's more buyer intent in those situations.
Yeah, more buyer intent for sure. Yeah. Whereas this one has a little bit more research intent. Like maybe somebody's using this query to find information so they can write a paper or a news article or something like that, as opposed to wanting to hire an attorney eventually.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Do you have questions?
I was going to say, no. So not doing research with long tail keywords. And then in addition, having, too much repeatable keywords over and over. Anything else on this blog before I ask about the next one?
I mean, I think those are the main issues I see with this blog and main things that could improve it. Yeah, I mean, I have some other examples here of an attorney who is kind of in the right direction, and then one who needs a little tune up, and then another one who's doing some other aspects of blogging correctly.
Okay, yeah, show the next one.
So this guy, Oklahoma lawyer, Hasbrook and Hasbrook. This is a good example of a post that does better at targeting the long tail keyword phrase that has search intent, and then it also has a characteristic that I recommend to attorneys when they're generating blog content, is to link internally to their practice area pages. And the reason for that is, back at the beginning of our call, I mentioned that part of the purpose of blogs is to create what we call linkable assets, or content that other site owners will want to link to. And so he's, when you generate a blog post and other sites link to it, you can funnel that link equity to your practice area pages or to your sales pages. Whereas, they may not want to link to the sales pages directly or the practice area pages directly, because they're not always, they don't have a research intent or a useful purpose in that regard a lot of the time. So anyway, this guy does this good. So this post, who's at fault for a truck accident lawyer, or I'm sorry, for a truck accident lawyer, for a truck accident, and how a truck accident lawyer can help. I didn't check to see if there was search intent for this keyword phrase, so it'd be important to check that first, but it does kind of touch on the question research aspect of things. Like, somebody may have been in a truck accident, maybe they're a truck driver, or maybe they were hit by a truck or got in an accident.
You're not looking at who's at fault typically if you're not been in a truck accident.
Yeah, so it's obviously like whoever is looking for content like this.
Like, I'm just looking for a friend, Matt. I'm looking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for a buddy. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, it's designed to capture people at the research phase. And then here, right at the beginning of the post, they link to their practice area page right here with this truck accident keyword phrase. So good on that. Yeah. And I mean,
so a mistake people make is they don't do any internal linking at all. Most likely.
I've seen that. Right? Yeah, I've seen that. And I don't know if I have an example of that here, but yeah, they'll write this big long piece of content. It ranks well. That's awesome. But internal linking could be just as important as building external links to your site, because it shows Google what pages on your site are important and which ones, are, maybe not deserving of so much link authority.
Right.
So yeah, you always want to link internally to a practice area page. And then I also recommend no following links to like your contact page. Like down here, you can see in my browser, it's outlining this schedule a free consultation, because this is no followed. Because the contact page isn't really something you're trying to rank for anything. It usually doesn't have a lot of content. It's a function driven page. It doesn't need to target a keyword phrase. So just no follow these links, so the link authority is not passing to those. And then any external links like your social profiles or links to privacy policy should be no followed as well. Only the links to other posts or links to your practice area pages should be do follow.
Got it. What's the next? Is there anything others on this one, or should we go to the next example?
Yeah, let's look at the next one. This attorney, this was a good example, and we almost didn't show this because I couldn't really see their blog, but I guess that's a good example of, something you should always make sure is done, is that you have the content on your site is accessible no matter what page a person is on. And a good thing to do is put a blog menu item in the main navigation structure of your site so that people can get to that page and see posts on the site, and that it's organized in a way that is logical for Google. When you don't have that blog page there, it's more difficult for people to find. And then you also don't get the benefit of, any link equity that you have pointing at your homepage. A lot of people by default will link to your homepage if they're building links naturally to your site. And if you don't have that page connected in some way, it's just, you're missing out on opportunities.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been on the phone with people, Matt, and I'm like trying to find, I'm like, where's your blog? I'm trying to find out more information. And they're like, oh, you click on this and it's like the third thing down, or you got to go to the bottom. I'm like, can you just put it at the top? And I was actually looking for it, right? And I was on the phone with the person, And I go, before the call, I wanted to do a little research, and I could not find it. I could not find it.
Yeah, that's always a bad scenario.
Yeah.
I've seen other sites where it's like it's under an About Us section, and then maybe you can't even click on the blog until you click on the About Us link, and then it's linked on the page as opposed to being in the menu.
Right, right.
And yeah, I mean, anytime you make it difficult for people to find things when they're already on your site is not.
I mean, you want people to stumble across it naturally, let alone if they're looking for it and can't find it, because I've had those scenarios. So I totally get what you're saying.
And in another scenario, like if someone clicks on a blog post link from a search results page, goes to your site, reads the blog, wants to see more information or more content on your site, and maybe they go to a practice area page, or maybe they go to the contact page, but then they want to go back to the blog and they can't find it anymore. There's another issue. So
yeah,
definitely that was the example with this site.
Yeah, so put it front and center. First of all, if they hit that page, they'll be able to find more information. Second of all, it's just easier to access.
Yeah, definitely. And then my last example here is of another site, lemonlaw.com, who's doing, they don't have like a traditional, they're not doing the blogging in a traditional way, really, that I would do it for ranking for keyword phrases for a specific practice area. So in this case, it's like, it's lemon laws or consumer protection laws, but they are doing a really cool strategy where they're trying to find issues that people are having with vehicles, keyword phrases that are being searched, in the near term, and generating content around that, and then linking back to their sales pages. So in this case, it's been really successful for them. And it still follows the similar strategy where they're looking for a keyword phrase with search volume, because obviously if people are having issues, and for people that don't know, the Lemon Law firm does consumer protection legal work, where if people have issues with vehicles that have repeatedly been back in the shop and can't be fixed, or is down for a long period of time, they're able to recover monetary awards for that from auto manufacturers. And there's actually statutes in a lot of states that provide for payment of legal fees by the manufacturer for consumers who've had to go through that process. And this firm does that.
So most people don't even know that exists, probably.
They don't,
until they're searching for something about.
There's so much information out there. Yeah. Like in this case, it was Ford F-250 death wobble is shaking drivers up. Ford F-250 death wobble was the keyword phrase. So yeah, I mean, people are searching on forums. They're searching on maybe Lemon Law websites or wherever, on social media, trying to figure out if other people have the same issue. How have you been able to resolve it? I've had this thing into the dealership. It's not getting fixed. And so really a brilliant strategy in targeting these keyword phrases, coming up with a post about it. And you can tell that they're getting a lot of good responses. I mean, 128 responses on this blog post, ton of comments. And they've linked internally to a page they want to rank here, a New Jersey Lemon Law page, and then to their contact form. They're short posts. I mean, not a lot of information, which generally I wouldn't recommend, but because of the strategy they're using, it's really successful because they don't, they're targeting something that has a lot of search volume. Their site is already authoritative. They're a Lemon Law site. And so when they put this content out there, it tends to rank really well and get a lot of activity.
Matt, does a company like this, do they take cases all over the country, or is it more specific to their region?
This firm takes cases in a lot of states across the country. Don't quote me on this because sometimes I forget which states they do. I know they do New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware, Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and they do some states on the I think on the West Coast. Either that or they have partners they deal with. But pretty much anywhere on the East Coast, if you have an issue with a vehicle, lemonlaw.com can take care of it.
I just know certain practices of law, it's like, limited to their state.
In general, in general it is. And I think they have enough attorneys licensed in different states to be able to do that.
That makes sense.
How that works. But you're right. Yeah, if you're licensed in a state, you can't practice outside of that state. In another state.
So biggest mistakes we talked about is putting too many of the same keyword, not researching long tail keywords. Make sure you're doing internal linking, and then the obvious, I guess, would be make sure someone could find your blog. We also talked about, or like I've heard this term, and I don't know if you've covered it already, but I've heard the term spamming. before. Is that something you already talked about, or what does that mean?
I guess it could mean a lot of things, but as it relates to blogging, spamming would be generating content that doesn't have any clear value. So maybe there's a keyword phrase like motorcycle accident attorney, and then writing a post about that doesn't have any meat, any real usefulness, any real in-depth research, and then just filling it with keyword phrases and trying to link to it a bunch of times with exact match anchor text, motorcycle accident attorney anchor text, things like that. That would be an example of spamming, using a blog to spam, because that strategy will not work. And if it does work in the initial stages, it will stop. You won't, those pages usually get nixed pretty quickly because they don't offer a lot of value to users. Google just wants to provide useful information for people that are searching for the queries. And the more, this is probably another thing you hear all the time is create useful content. And I hate that because it's not descriptive enough of what you should be producing. Like, if you want a post to rank for a specific keyword phrase, you have to, assuming it checks all the other boxes, has search volume and everything, you have to look at the top ranking pages, and you have to make your content better than all those top ranking pages, better than the most comprehensive source of information on the internet for that particular topic area. Yeah. And that's when Google will start ranking it higher. I mean, you still have to promote it, but in general, as far as the content is structured, it needs to be a really well-written piece of information.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the common thread, Matt, is research. Like, first of all, you should research what terms people are searching, and then research, well, who is ranking for certain things at the top, and look and see what are they doing. And probably they're doing something that Google likes or it wouldn't be ranked, right. Or look at the top 3 and then actually do your research and have a strategy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and the strategy that we promote for clients is if they don't have existing blog content, it's usually about generating content around long tail keyword phrases that are relevant to the practice areas they want to drive in cases. If they do have blog content, most often it's a case where the internal linking is not being leveraged appropriately. The keyword targeting is not as good as it could be. Excuse me. Or they have so much content out there that doesn't really have a purpose, that it's creating a lot of bloat. So we go through and we find posts that may be ranking on the cusp of the first or second page, and select those for improvement. We select posts that already have referring domains pointed at them. They already have links pointed at them, and we use those for internal linking. So those are kind of the things that we look at.
People have kind of low-hanging fruit, and then bolstering that up. Exactly. That they're not even utilizing. Matt, is there anything that we missed with blogging and marketing for SEO and big mistakes people make?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you should be blogging if you're doing SEO, and just keep in mind that if you don't really have a clear strategy with generating content, you should have one, because you're spinning your wheels if not.
Yeah. So we should I know they can go to esq.marketing. Anywhere else we should point people towards?
Nope, that's it. Yeah, esq.marketing, and you can learn more about us there. We have a ton of information on the site related to SEO and blogging, and yeah.
What's a top podcast episode people should check out that sticks out to you? I know it's like choosing your favorite child.
Anything with Jeremy Wise in it, for sure.
Oh, that for sure. Any past guests that stick out that were just that is a fan favorite?
Let me take a look at the blog.
Yeah.
I heard the Lemon Law one. We actually did a podcast with Lemon Law. That's a good one. I really like the one with Ann Thayer, starting a solo practice during a pandemic. She talks a lot about how she was able to cut back on costs and kind of where to invest money and where not, which for any business owner, it's always, and even I'm guilty of this, I get distracted by shiny things and I'm like, oh, I need to get this, or I need to send out gifts during the holiday, or I need to buy nice office furniture. I need to look professional. I need all these new clothes or something like that. But she was like, yeah, in the beginning, you don't focus on that stuff. You buy cheap office furniture, spend on marketing, buy marketing, which I know that sounds like a conflict of interest because I'm marketing, but investing in the business to generate more business.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and
the
she had
things
some
that are
other,
going to generate more business for sure.
yeah, she had some other good tips in there too. That's a good one. And then especially for like solo law firms or one starting out. And then also Frank Vent, the Vent Law Firm, he had some good tips along similar lines. How when he was starting out, talked about how he was broke and how he had to really grind to get some business. And I think him sharing that experience is enlightening for other attorneys who might be in the same situation right now.
Awesome. Check out esq.marketing. Check out other podcast episodes. And Matt, thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.